Welcome to another edition of the Physique Formula Podcast. If you guys are new here, this is a 5-minute research review podcast where I break down latest science and some emerging trends to help you feel, look, and perform your best. We are taking your questions. AskPhysiqueFormula@gmail.com. Guys, if you like this podcast, please subscribe, comment. The show is growing. Every subscription helps. And follow us on Instagram at Official Physique Formula. That's where I post some tidbits during the day, and on X at Physique Formula. The show is brought to you by PhysiqueFormulaSupplements.com. That is my all-natural, artificial, sweetener-free supplement line. Let's go to work. So this was a question from a reader. Her name is Alyssa, and she says, this is actually her first reader question on the podcast. So thank you, Alyssa, for being number one or the first here. She is a female about to turn 40. She wants to know what she can do to build more muscle. She says she has competed in physique shows and fitness shows in the past. She's very active, and she kind of breaks down her training a little bit. So this is an interesting question because do we have a harder time gaining muscle because we age, or is it more difficult, or does aging make it more difficult for us to gain muscle? And those are two separate questions. Listen, time constraints is a thing. Slower metabolic function is a thing. Gradual wear and tear is a thing. Your lack of desire to train because your lack of time, because of stress, all of it's real, but none of it is a sole reason why. When things do get more difficult, I have a nutrition coaching business. I work with women of all backgrounds in a variety of sports, and I found these 3 hacks to kind of get you over the limit that you have and kind of improve more. So you should honestly assess your training. Should you train your upper? Do you train your upper body as hard as you train your lower body? So generally, women have traditionally emphasized their lower body over their upper body. The opposite is true for guys. Like, it just happens, and that's largely attributed to outdated norms. Sure, with the popularity of CrossFit and influencers, greater attention is given to different training modalities, but your fundamental base is so important. Honestly, ask yourself if you train your upper body as frequently as your lower body. Do you have multiple leg days per week and less upper body training? And you'll see this, like, particularly as you get towards 40, if you've trained a variety of ways, as you seem like you have, Alyssa, how much of that was heavy lower body dominant? And this is a situation where you can begin to start prioritizing 1 or 2 body parts that you want to grow. So if muscle is an issue for you, you might want to look at, let me look at my arms and my shoulders and emphasize that in a 12 to 16 week block, and adjust your training around that. And this is something that we can do back and forth going over email, just kind of deciding the optimal 5 training sessions or 6 training sessions per week training split. But assess your training. Generally, your legs are probably more aerobically fit, anaerobically fit than your upper body. So make that adjustment, start prioritizing upper body a little more, and I think your overall musculature will increase. So protein matters. And I'm not looking to beat the high protein drum here. At this point, you should know that you need multiple high protein feedings per day to not only stimulate muscle protein synthesis, but prevent protein breakdown. However, once you hit 40, things do change. As we age, each year, our ability to synthesize protein decreases. We need more of it to achieve the same net effect. But when you compound that with not even enough protein, enough total protein to begin with, and then less protein synthesis, it's not a good recipe. So what you want to do is you want to bump up your protein per feeding, but you also want to start using branched chain amino acids in between your meals. In full disclosure, I make an artificial sweetener-free BCAA that also has betaine, taurine, citrulline, glutamine, good stuff in it. It is on PhysiqueFormulaSupplements.com. But branched chains in between meals will help elevate and maintain muscle protein synthesis, or you can have them before your workout. You can have them post-workout if you can't get a meal in right away. But I think that will help in the long run. And then this one is a little woo-woo. It's a little out there, but the stretch matters. So fascial stretching is a very real concept, and fascia is a paper-like substance that, it's the best way to describe it, like a thin paper-like substance that covers your muscles. And the bodybuilders have been talking about it for years, but deep stretching in both movements, so like think about a dip, think of incline curls, think of a lat pull down where you get that stretch at the top, and intentional stretching in between sets with light rates in a mechanically disadvantaged position. So think an incline fly with a 2-pound plate in each hand, and you're just holding the bottom position for a stretch. loaded stretching not only helps deliver blood and nutrients to the working tissue, which is a signal for muscle growth, but also that stretch opens up the muscle tissue, opens up the fascia, and allows for more growth. You see this with bodybuilders all the time that do flexing and holds in static positions. And I'm not telling you to do a rear double bicep, when you're walking through your office, but little points of stretching and flexing after a movement can actually is an isometric movement that increases muscle fibers and can increase muscle growth. So give those 3 hacks a shot. Askphysiqueformula@gmail.com for your questions. Official Physique Formula on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for listening.